music studio again, my home studio. This is the first in a series of new videos that I'm making. A new series which is going to be all inclusive. It's going to include pretty much most aspects of timpani playing. I'm calling it A View from the Rear. The timpanist sits at the rear of the orchestra, and basically this is his viewpoint. We'll discuss all sorts of subjects, or shall I say, of the timpanist art, from the timpanist toolbox in more detail to these sticks, the instruments, and excerpts. And these will be incorporated into a whole later on and basically re-released in a more formal format. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy this part one. Part one tonight we will call My Current Sticks Part 1. I have a lot of current mallets that I'm using. In some test videos that I made earlier and posted on Facebook, I talked about my legacy mallets and some of the other mallets that I still use from time to time. But with the current mallets, we're going to start with mallets that were made by Ron Carlisle of CarlislePercussion.com. Ron is a musician and an archaeologist, I believe, living in Carnegie, Pennsylvania, a former student of former Pittsburgh Symphony timpanist William Schneiderman. He's played the McKeesport Symphony, and he's made sticks for such people as Stan Leonard, Ed Steffen, and myself, and others. And all of us have given him testimonials to the excellence of his workmanship. Now, I've made other videos in my little corner of the world series, which have been on YouTube and Facebook. I've talked about them. I'm going to go into a little more detail. We're going to start with some, I won't say specialty mallets, but these are mallets that, a couple of them are from his symphonic line of carbon fiber mallets. 4 of them are from his hollowed out wood mallets, and one's a specialty mallet, which is a double-ended mallet. I'll start with these, basically. Now, these mallets feature a nice medium hard disc-shaped felt head, and they have wooden balls, so you can flip them over, like in the Enigma variations if you need be, or in Don Juan of Richard Strauss. Now, I've been fooling with that. I haven't played that piece in many, many years. The tone poem Don Juan by Richard Strauss is one of the hardest pieces in the repertoire, particularly for the strings, with its opening flourish, which is a killer for the violins. The timpani part has its own problems, like the speed of which to change from felt sticks to wood slicks or Holzschlägel, as Richard Strauss demands within a 3-bar period, and the tempo is fairly quick. Okay, there are 2 ways to do this. Now, like I say, I've been out of practice at it, and so if I interrupt myself a few times, think of it as a process of me relearning it and sharing it with you on the video. The opening flourish, actually, I made it the first time. I've been trying it on a test video, and it took me about 5 minutes to get it. Do I dare do it again? Well, you'll also notice that I used 2 drums for it. With the high E, basically Strauss writes like this. And that's perfectly fine, and that would, most of the time would do it. But if I'm feeling gutsy, I'll do it that way. I learned that from Mr. Hinger, Dan Hinger, Fred Hinger of the Philadelphia Orchestra and the Met. He just felt it was more articulate that way. But the important thing is to get the articulation and get that stick change moved fast. So you see how this excerpt, these sticks come in handy. And like I say, this shaft is roughly about ½ an inch, a little under 5/8 inches. and it's about 14 inches long. It's a good pair of sticks, and I keep them in my toolkit all the time. Now, going to the other end of the spectrum here, we have the S1 series, the S1 models from the symphonic series. Now, what makes this series different is that they are of carbon fiber, and they're color-coded, white for S1. Notice that the heads are round and big, and of course that's what they're going to produce, a very round sound. And once for something like in the opening movement of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony, where the little violin and timpani, with the timpani ostinato under it on B and F sharp, under the violin line, change that a little bit. Has a nice round sound. Notice I'm also doing it with one hand. My right hand is stronger, and while I have not chose to go over to the continental system as many American players are doing, I still, when I have a chance, will use my right hand to pull the sound out of both drums. Both hands, the regular is just as valid. It's different strokes for different folks, okay? Now there are other models. The only one I have other than the S1s are the S4s, which are his medium hard sticks. They have weight, they have good articulation. Sound for rolls, and can produce quite a bit of articulation. I'm doing rhythmic passages from the mold out. I would use for that, especially the St. John's Rapids part of it. Now these other four pairs of mallets are cherry stained, and they're hollowed out. They are hollow. So they're a little lighter in weight, but yet they still have a good impact and a good sound. These are the medium soft. Ominous round sounds. Not quite as heavy as the S1s or on the softest models, but good enough. These are the general purposes. What I want to have. The Second Symphony of Tchaikovsky, his Little Russian Symphony. Or nice point, enough roundness for it, and a very good Beautiful sound of the light drums, nice articulation, and a good, round, basic sound. Now we have the medium hards. One of my favorite pieces has been the Procession of the Nobles. I remember when I couldn't play it, there's two ways to do the excerpt. There's a which is in the simplified or band version, and then the original. So you see, you get that. That was the first time I've missed that in a long time. I'm not afraid to make mistakes on the video. This is a kind of spontaneity. Think of it as kind of a lesson, and then when you don't do it as often as you'd like, of course you're not, you have to get back into the groove of the piece, but you get the basic idea of these sticks and the way they sound. Now, and the last but not least are the hard sticks, basically, that which would be used for the most articulated passages. Beethoven 7. The idea. Also the last one. Or the third movement. Now that little movement poses a problem. Bum 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 bum. The last one is piano. Everything else is really fortissimo. Basically, I lay off on the last one. I'll make the movement. It's physically and psychologically there, but it gives what Beethoven meant. Bum 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 bum. So the other portion can come out. Well, that's about all the time we have on this thing. These part one of my current sticks from the view from the rear. I hope that this gives you an insight to what kind of mallets I'm using. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. The next video will go with the general purposes and the professional line models and other things that I'll be using. And I'm hoping to get to the timpanist toolbox in detail in later videos, as well as excerpts from the standard rep. Some of the books that I use is Randy Max's orchestral excerpts for the auditioning. That's an excellent book. It saved my bacon on many occasions. John Tafoya's is an excellent book. So things along those lines. I hope that you've enjoyed this first edition, this first video from the new series, View from the Rear. Andrew Simcoe signing off.